Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is August 22nd, 2022. It's one of those dates we circled earlier this year, having 52 numerology. And of course, when the 52 date numerology comes around, we often see the bizarre flooding stories. And this is a pattern going all the way back to 1952, when weather warfare was first admitted to by the Royal Air Force of the United Kingdom on the Jesuit order's birthday. And in addition to this happening on the 52 date numerology, again, if you're new here, it's because in Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice, the word flood equals 52. But in addition to that, Dallas, that's been flooded today, their anniversary of the charter for their cities, February 2nd, 1856, and from the anniversary of that charter to today is 201 days later. And again, in Gematria, weather control equals 201. And remember, JFK on September 25th, 1961, the same man who'd be assassinated in Dallas, JFK, he gave a speech on the potential benefits of weather control. And after he was assassinated, Lyndon Johnson said, "Who controls the weather controls the world." And again, the thing that America doesn't understand is this country is not controlled by people who care about the people of this country. It's essentially controlled by foreign interests, which are the same interests that have ultimately controlled the country from the beginning, because if you learn the Jesuit Kabbalistic code, you'll see the entire nation's history is 201. But again, it's 201 days after the anniversary of the Charter for Dallas. And remember what we just talked about in June. Yellowstone had record unprecedented flooding. They said the worst in 1,000 years. And we were talking about how that happened on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. And the thing about June 13th is if you spell it out, it has the same gematria as the Jesuit order and weather control in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. In fact, it's the exact same as weather control in all 4. If you're new here, gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. And again, you'll see these rituals come together so often in so many different ways. 201 was the number and the name of the coronavirus pandemic simulation. One of the biggest deaths in the UK from the pandemic was Captain Tom, who died 201 days after being knighted on July 17th, which is written 17/7 in the UK. And of course, he's known for the Burma campaign, and he died one day after the Burmese military overthrew its government. And again, there's a whole lot more to all this, but the point is the same persistent pattern. So we were already looking at this date for flooding because of the 52 numerology. And again, if you're new here, just show you this little table real quick. Again, gematria is just the alphabetic order is the most simple cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. If you take the letters of flood, F is the 6th letter, L is the 12th, O is the 15th, O is the 15th, D is the 4th. You add up the letters, it's 52. Flood, Earth, Enlil, they all equal 52. Enlil is the Babylonian god of flooding. This code of letters and numbers, Kabbalah, goes back to Babylon. And again, for people who don't understand why a government would do this to its people, it's because, again, it's not a sovereign nation. The government has essentially the keys to a military that has the capability of doing things like this. And when things like this are done, property's destroyed. Governments then say, "Oh, it's an emergency. I need some more money from the central bank." And then the bank prints off the money with a bill with interest, and then the taxpayers pay the bankers who are private, like the Federal Reserve is. This is how the game works. It's disaster capitalism. It's all wars are bankers' wars, including even weather warfare. And shout out to the good people in Dallas. We were just pounding pavement there in April. I hope everyone's property is okay. But yeah, the people who came out in Dallas, they already know what's up. They didn't even need this video. They said, "My, oh my," on the 52 date. And, you know, a lot of people in the community know how to decode. I'm sure a number of people, before I even put this out, noticed that today was 201 days after the Dallas charter date. And you know who the Cowboys play later this week? They play the rainy city, Seattle. Probably just a coincidence. Like how the Saints, who were always the Aints, finally won a Super Bowl after Katrina. Like how Houston won the World Series after Harvey, not to mention we predicted what day Harvey would flood on the 52 date and why Houston would beat LA in the World Series in August after the flooding of Harvey, which of course Vice News wrote their hit piece on. But yeah, it's just, it's just the same old, sadly. Again, go back and read this article about the Royal Air Force and the 1952 Lynmouth flood on August 15th, the Jesuit Order's birthday. And again, appreciate how Flood, Earth, and Enlil are the exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, and Earth and Enlil are the exact same in all 4. And again, JFK, September 25th, 1961, gave his speech about weather control. He did give it on the 25th of the month, which is interesting because that fits in with the Flood and Earth thing. We also see that pattern. Not quite as much as 52. But remember, September 25th, 2020, Public Enemy put out the album What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down, and because we decoded that album successfully, we saw that there were going to be blackouts on February 14th, 2020, which hit Houston the hardest and also the Dallas area. That was 142 days from the album coming out, like 14/2. Valentine's Day, which is Arizona's birthday, and Arizona's what's on the cover of the Public Enemy album, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. But remember, it was nature, Mother Nature, that was blamed for the grid going down in Texas. But do you think that was really Mother Nature either? Again, go back and see our prediction before it happened and how we showed it was synced up with the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, who called for the darkest winter and the Great Reset, which has to do with getting off fossil fuels, so the refining city Houston gets hit, while hometown Beyonce puts out her clothing line that weekend that Houston's frozen over called Icy Park. Yeah, so anyway, the Yellowstone was a big 201 thing, and you know what? Some of these other floods that have happened recently, sometimes you catch the ritual, sometimes you don't. But the 52 always stands out. But then just looking up Dallas, its official establishment date, the anniversary of the charter, of course, today is 201 days later. And make sure I didn't miss anything here. If you do go to Dallas, instead of this February 2nd, 1856 day, again, it was first founded, but it became official February 2nd, 1856. You'll see that 1841 if you go to Dallas. Remember, in Gematria, Dallas equals 41. Big number down there in Dallas. AT&T, the 41 company headquartered out of there. Of course, after Stafford won the Super Bowl this year, who's from the Highland Park area, he started doing the AT&T commercials. It's a big number at the Super Bowl as well, 41. LA equals 41, won their own Super Bowl 41 weeks after David Beckham's birthday, after they got Odell Beckham on the day, leaving 56 days left in the year before Super Bowl 56, and David Beckham, the soccer player, and a soccer ball has a 5-sided and 6-sided shape on it. Again, people don't have a clue, for the most part, how rigged this world is. They think their sports games are real. They can hardly get their mind around the fact that that's rigged, even though it couldn't be more obvious. So, again, waking them up to weather warfare, even though we got the definitive proof year after year, it's a whole nother story. So, by the time the Cowboy preseason game rolls around, they'll probably forget their... It's the United States of amnesia, man. Nobody's even going to remember this flood in a few weeks, sadly. It's also why these tyrants get away with everything they do. But, here, for a little more 201, do you remember the Cristiano Ronaldo rape story? As a refresher, here's my old post on it from 2018. If you can believe it, it's 201. They say that he raped this woman on he's accused of raping this woman, I should say, on June 13th, which is the day leaving 201 days left in the year, same day Yellowstone flooded. The accuser's name is Catherine Mayorga, which is 201. Notice how her name is the exact same as the Jesuit order in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And funny thing is, she's back now, and she is suing for 54 million British pounds. Remember, the movie They Live with Roddy Piper, that film came out 201 days after his birthday, starts with the camera pointed at a mural of a vaccine on an underpass. Roddy Piper would end up tweeting on the anniversary of the Jesuit recognition date that They Live was a documentary, and then he died on the anniversary of the founder of the Jesuits, who's Ignatius of Loyola, whose name equals 201, huge number with the Jesuit history. But the enemy of the world and They Live, again, came out 201 days after Roddy Piper's birthday, but the enemy of the world in that movie is Cable 54, and with Pythagorean gematria, Jesuit order equals 54. Of course, their logo's the sun. Sun equals 54. The model that says the sun's at the center of it all, heliocentrism equals 201. But this woman wants 54 million British pounds now from Cristiano Ronaldo. 54 million British pounds in the rape suit that goes back to 201. And it reminds of Beau Biden, whose name equals 54, who died 201 days before the first Jesuit Pope's birthday. Pope Francis, the first to live in Suite 201, whose birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201. But again, you'll see this combination a lot too, because they're both big Jesuit numbers, 54, 201. And it says that, if you read it, Mayorga wants to overturn a 275,000 British pound out-of-court settlement agreed with Ronaldo in 2010 and is seeking a 54 million payout. 2010. 2010, you know. So, from one 201 story to the next, just to remind who's controlling the minds of the masses, which is what They Live is about if you've never seen it. At the end, he blows up Cable 54, and everybody wakes from the mind control, you know. Perfect film with a perfect message that most people thought was just a silly story. And again, if you missed my last video on Anthony Fauci retiring after 38 years of working on the 38th parallel, who just recently returned from his COVID illness on July 12th, the 201st day of his age, which was Bill Gates' anniversary of setting up his vaccine alliance, when his full name, William Henry Gates, equals 201, who when he was age 54, gave his decade of vaccine speech 1 decade before COVID. But if you missed the video I just put out on this, go back and check it out. The significance of 38 years on the 38th parallel, the number of death, the number of the pandemic on this very specific date, 22/8. If you missed it, it's there. And again, it's another perfect ritual. And in light of the 38 thing, remember, this is buzzing right now, that in Alberta, Canada, the top cause of death is unknown cause of death. And we all know what that means, as long as we're not the scarecrow pre-brain in The Wizard of Oz. But this is happening in Alberta, Canada. Check out the Gematria, Alberta, Canada, 8338. That reminds me of the Murder by Numbers movie poster, where the E's coded as a 3 and the B is an 8, and how the British song by the Police, Murder by Numbers, came out in 83 when murder equals 38 in 83. And again, it's got that 38 like death, like pandemic. When you run it in reverse, Alberta, Canada's 88 like decade of vaccines, like poison. And with regard to They Live, which begins with the camera pointed at a mural on a Los Angeles underpass, that film came out November 4th, 88. It actually came out exactly 88 days after the August 8th, 88 release of NWA's breakout album. And remember, the founder of NWA, he ended up dying in a suspicious way after his bandmate Ice Cube put out the album Lethal Injection. Eazy-E died 201 days after his birthday, and some people say he was injected with something, and then that's when his whole health went down. There's a lot of stories around what happened to Eazy-E. But again, that was 201 days after his birthday. Right after the Lethal Injection album by Ice Cube, who lives on and has had a great career in Hollywood, and now his son's even in Hollywood. But again, just the 88 thing, the poison connection, you know what I mean? Go back and listen to old Billy Goat, what he said. So, Alberta, Canada should have got more copies of my book. Anyhow, the 201s aren't done there yet. Last night, I did cover this in the live stream that YouTube took down. YouTube took down the Sunday night show because at the very end of the show, I showed a tiny bit more of the Comedy Central sketch on Gematria. And for that 1 minute out of a 4.5 hour video, they decided to take down the whole video. And I'm trying to get it appealed and fixed right now, so it might end up going back up. It is also being uploaded to BitChute. But anyway, I did cover this last night, so if you saw it, apologies, but we'll cover it one more time. In the news, a woman who was made famous from Occupy, who no one's going to question her death. The news broke of her death August 20th, 820. She made her name in Seattle, the land of 82. Remember, Seattle equals 82 like COVID, where the first case was in the world outside of China. And then you had 82-year-old Nancy over there instigating with China on 8-2. And, of course, you had Bill and Melinda Gates divorced last year on August 2nd, 8-2. Big combo in Seattle is 82. But anyhow, the news of this Seattle woman's death who got famous during Occupy, the news breaks 201 days before Tim Pool's upcoming birthday. And again, who's the most famous guy from Occupy in the whole world? Tim Pool, who's become a multi-millionaire. And again, if this was a Tim Pool stream, I'd look out at the super chats right now, and I'd already have raised $3,000 at least, if not $30,000. But again, that's the way the game works, right? So we know who runs Google, Sundar Pichai, whose name equals 201. And again, Google, the Jesuits, they both celebrate their birthday September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Like the Jesuits' original purpose was to counter the 95 Theses. Like Fauci equals 95, who participated in the big ritual back in 2020 when he threw out the first pitch of the game where Garrett Cole pitched his first game with the Yankees, getting his 95th career win after being signed by the Yankees on his 95th day of his age. And with regards to 95, do notice that this woman, who's dead 201 days, well, the news of her death is 201 days before Tim Pool's birthday. She's dead at 95 too. Again, no one's going to question the death of a 95-year-old, but I'll question it and the timing of it in light of the main beneficiary of the Occupy movement. And then also last night, we talked about in the stream, Dennis Rodman's going to Russia, like how he's gone to North Korea, to free Brittany Griner. And again, it's just what I've been talking about the whole time with Russia-Ukraine. It's all about number 91. Dennis Rodman, who wore the number 91 in the NBA. In Gematria, Phoenix equals 91. That's who Brittany Griner plays for. Griner equals 91. Remember, the Soviet Union broke apart in 91. The last leader was Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev turned 91 1 week after Russia-Ukraine broke out. And just the other day, I was talking about the significance of 91 and Q Lazarus, her song getting famous in Silence of the Lambs, the year of the Bills-Giants Super Bowl, and how Buffalo Bills dancing to her song in the film Silence of the Lambs, which made it famous. And then she's dead in the news. The news breaks the same day. The Buffalo Bills tight end, little brother's dead again. And then the score of the game pays tribute to both of them. 42 points, like Q Lazarus equals 42, and the tight end had 42 games under his belt, plus tight end equals 42. Again, it's all just par for the course, but there's so many things that are happening with 91 that come back to what's going on with Russia-Ukraine, which the Soviet Union, it was announced that it had dissolved on Christmas Day. Can't get more Jesuit than that, like Anthony Fauci's birthday is Christmas Eve. But when you write out the Society of Jesus, it equals 91. Again, that's the Jesuits. So, yeah, the Jesuit fingerprints are all over this, but send a number 91 to get Mrs. 91. The biggest misses on earth. And then also, this needs to be known. Shout out to Truth Vibration Podcast. His advice to play the end of the... his advice at the end of the show to play the Comedy Central clip did get the whole show taken down, but before that, he had a really great contribution, which hopefully we'll get back up there. We'll get it back up there in this stream. He's living down in Florida near this Tyndall Air Force Base, and he made a really great observation it's just mind-blowing how we continue to find out even more detrimental stuff to the narrative of 9/11. Remember, Operation Amalgam Virgo was the simulation of Al-Qaeda attacking the U.S. with cruise missiles June 1st, 2001. Again, that was 102 days before 9/11, like Al-Qaeda equals 102, like Art of War equals 102, like World War equals 102, like they said the attack lasted 102 minutes. And again, Art of War is the Jesuit translated text, supposedly by Sun Tzu of China. And 102 is also all over COVID and Russia-Ukraine. But anyway, The new information, the brand new information that we were missing all this time is Tyndall Air Force Base is where they simulated Operation Amalgam Virgo. It's in Florida, like where Bush was the day of 9/11. Again, the state that elected him, where his brother was the 43rd governor before he became the 43rd president when Florida equals 43. But anyway, the date Tyndall Air Force Base opened was December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor Day, and they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell in New York, like Pearl Harbor Day is December 7th, 127. The 31st prime number. 31's the 11th prime number, coming back to the big 11 ritual on 9/11. Bin Laden died in the year 11 after, Obama took office in 09. And then from Obama to Osama's death, 119 weeks, like 11/9. You know all that. But again, what are the odds of this? This base opened on Pearl Harbor Day. And again, Pentagon construction. Pentagon was part of 9/11. Construction began on the Pentagon September 11th, 1941, right before Pearl Harbor. And then you have Pentagon Maskell, the simulation of a plane flying into the Pentagon, 322 days before 9/11, when that's the number of Skull and Bones, and Bush, who was in office, is from Skull and Bones. But, unbelievable. Tyndall Air Force Base opened on Pearl Harbor Day and simulated 9/11, the new Pearl Harbor. In a perfect ritual. The leader of Japan at the time of Pearl Harbor, his name also equals 102. Again, it's a new world order, you guys. Jesuits have been in Japan and China and all those places longer than the U.S. has even existed. So, again, this got blocked in the middle of the night last night, the Sunday show. I'm trying to edit out the segment that it's got it blocked. So hopefully when that's all the way out, it'll come back up and you can watch it again if you missed it. Again, it's a long show. You don't have to watch all of it, but it's just annoying how they use the copyright stuff politically. They didn't need to block the video. And by the way, it did just now process. If you want to watch the Sunday show, it's up on my BitChute page. Search Zachary K. Hubbard or GematriaEffectNews. You'll find it over there. But that's where the Sunday show went. So. And again, if you guys are new here, I'd encourage you to download my ebooks for free. My first book, Letters and Numbers, has a chapter on weather warfare and the number 52 and the ritualistic pattern. And again, since this isn't Texas, I've shown it before, I'll show it again. Vice News, Zachary K. Hubbard. If you search that, I'm Zachary K. Hubbard. You'll find this article. Wacko YouTuber approves World Series was rigged. George Springer back when he was on the Astros. And again, you can come read this whole article, but they quote me here, and I just want you to see that. They say, the reason that matters is because the word flood in Gematria equals 52. Houston flooded on a date with 52 numerology. This time it's Dallas. Dallas is now flooded on a date with 52 numerology on August 27th, which was the 239th day of the year, which is the 52nd prime number. And it was also 27 years to the day of the death of Stevie Ray Vaughan, who was remembered for the album Texas Flood. And then, of course, Matt Harvey became the first pitcher to pitch in Houston 52 days before the start of the World Series after the flooding of Harvey. And then he makes fun of what I document with Charlie Morton's 52 pitch count in the deciding effort. But, anyway. Been teaching about this stuff for a long time. This article was written on Joe Biden's birthday back in 2017. So, yeah. Sorry, people of Dallas. You're not the first and you won't be the last if it makes you feel any better. But until there's something done about these Jesuits and them controlling our nation and its military and its technology, it's going to be more of the same. More needless destruction, more needless death, more needless fear. And the tragedy is that we're paying for this, you guys. We pay for every inch of this. We pay for Anthony Fauci to fly all over in jets, the planes all in the sky, leaving the geoengineering trails, By the way, to get to the date numerology today, August 22nd, 22, 8 plus 22 plus 22 equals 52. Again, most simple cipher, Earth, Flood, Enlil. They all equal 52, which is, again, Enlil's the Babylonian god of flooding. This code of letters and numbers, gematria goes back to Babylon. And you know what else I forgot to show? Shoot. Here. Look at this. The government used to pay a man, Charles Mallory Hatfield, to release chemicals into locations that were experiencing drought to bring rainfall there. And this was just shown on the news. They called this guy the Rainmaker, which also equals 201. But here, let's watch this real quick. They better not take me down for copyright for showing the news. So shout out to KSL5 News. Let's watch this old clip. And again, seeing is believing. Here we go. Actually, let me change the audio setting real quick too so you guys hear this better. We got to watch this real quick. For all the people who doubt the weather warfare, your doubt's about to end. Here we go.
Later, it is. If you had a bunch of chemicals and you built a tower, could you make it rain?
No.
Well, that's the subject of tonight's weird weather.
In the early 1900s, there was a gentleman who said he could make it rain. Charles M. Hatfield. Well, he said for $50, he could deliver. Well, Los Angeles farmers said, we need rain. Will you make it rain? He did. And they were so happy, they paid him $100. Well, there was a lake in the area, Lake Hemet. He said for $4,000, he could deliver 4 inches of rain. So he made this tower and he mixed up some chemicals. Guess what? 11 inches of rain fell and it rose 22 feet. Operators say it was the best bargain they'd ever had. There was another area that needed it. San Diego City contracted him to fill Lake Marina in 1 year. If he did it, $10,000. If not, he didn't get a penny. January 1st, he put his towers up and started sending his chemicals away. January 5th, it began to rain. January 10th, heavy rain kept going. And by January 15th, it had been a downpour for nearly 5 days.
Okay, so the rain did come, and apparently it was Hatfield that was doing it, but look what happened after that. On the 19th, Marina Reservoir filled. The 26th, record-breaking rains were still falling, and the next day, dams were rupturing, huge amounts of water pouring out of the mountains, heading into San Diego. 20 people lost their lives. 35 inches of rain fell that month. Well, you can imagine there were lawsuits in the millions. The city council says, nope, we're not going to pay. Hatfield said, I'll settle for $4,000. Council said no. It went to the California Supreme Court. They ruled that was an act of God. Well, if that's the case, neither Hatfield nor the...
You guys saw the date of that, didn't you? Where did the date just go? Right there. 127. 127. Isn't that an interesting date? Just destruction. 127. Pearl Harbor. 9/11. Buildings 1, 2, and 7. Just makes you wonder what really happened there that day, huh? Let's continue.
Huge amounts of water pouring out of the mountains, heading into San Diego. 20 people lost their lives. 35 inches of rain fell that month. Well, you can imagine there were lawsuits in the millions. The city council says, nope, we're not going to pay. Hatfield said, I'll settle for $4,000. Council said no. It went to the California Supreme Court. They ruled that was an act of God. Well, if that's the case, neither Hatfield nor the city was liable for the damages. Also, if it was an act of God, then that means Hatfield didn't do it. City council? Nope. They say they're not going to pay. Well, Charles Hatfield was known by many names. He was a cloud coaxer, a water magician, a moisture accelerator, the wizard of hope, a pluviculturalist, the great precipitator, but most of the time he was just known as Hatfield the Rainmaker.
My.
Should have bottled those chemicals. Maybe not.
All right. So, if you need a little bit more proof, there it was. And isn't it funny? The Rainmaker 201, like weather control, fitting perfectly with the ritual. Shout out to I'm Not Hitler, who chipped in $2 and said, is 100 a significant number? Again, all the numbers are a language. I've seen rituals in, for example, Portland with 100, because Portland has named Gematria of 100, so all numbers can be significant. The numbers are the language to these people. If there was a big ritual in a city whose name equaled 100, you'd probably see, the mayor of a certain town. He might die 100 days from his birthday. Again, the numbers are a language. The numbers correspond with the person, place, thing of what you're looking at the time you're doing your research and your decode. And shout out to Pro Stalker 888. He joined us last night on the Sunday show. Hopefully we can get it back up if they took it down for copyright again. But shout out to him who chipped in $5. I appreciate it. And my smoothie's giving me the hiccups. Yeah. Also, you guys, D26, if you haven't seen his video yet, I uploaded it a couple days. YouTube got rid of the ban on it. He won his appeal, and I'm glad he did because it's a great video. And a lot of you guys have already watched it, but if you've missed it, definitely go back and watch. He did a great job at taking the research from the community and condensing it into an 18-minute video with some great video editing skills. And I see his subs have jumped up quite a bit, deservedly so. And hopefully they'll jump up even further. But yeah, I think that's it for now, Truth Seeker. So thank you again to everyone who hit the like and the share. And by the way, that news channel that we just watched the clip out of, KSL TV5, they're out of Utah. So that was a Utah news station. And here's their webpage. Right now they have a pretty funny story on their front page. Davis homeowners find multiple goats on their roof. I don't even know how that could happen. But maybe you want to send an email to that news station and ask what other information they have on weather modification, geoengineering. I wonder if they've shown some other interesting clips in their time. So I appreciate that they put that out there about Mr. Hatfield, the Rainmaker. And again, one more example of history, weather manipulation, and the code. So all right, we'll keep it short and sweet. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you to everyone who hit the like and the share. And also thank you to everyone who's getting on the new social media website. I guess I might as well plug that one more time. If you guys are not on the new social media site yet, the best way to get on there is through your phone. But if you don't have a smartphone, it's also on the desktop. The website is GematriaEffectNews.mn.co. And that'll get you there. But if you have a phone, in the app section, download the Mighty Networks app. Mighty Networks app. It's free to download. And then once you have that downloaded, search GematriaEffectNews and join that community page. And you'll be on it. So let me see. I haven't seen any hiccups on the site yet, but maybe today. Oh, there we go. It was just something about that first load. But yeah, it's a great website for posting content, not having to worry about censorship, searching who's on the site that's in your community if you're trying to organize, network, link up with people, make more friends. Somebody asked if we can create a dating component to the website. I know a lot of you would like that. I put out that idea to the web team. I'll talk with him later this week. See if that's a possibility. And again, if we can get the community funding back up, we can make a big investment into this site and turn it into essentially a live streaming platform. So if it gets built up, if enough people are pledging $1 a month, there's a lot more potential for this site. But right now it's a good place to link up, organize, post events. Again, if you want to post an event on here, market it, try and get some people in the area to come out, link up, pound pavement, get together, whatever it is you're trying to do. This is the website to make networking happen. So let me post the link in the feed. And again, if you're on the smartphone, please do get the app. It feels really nice and smooth and futuristic on the app. It's super effective. And shout out to its principalities, I believe it. He said, just because, grateful for the work, just got my physical copy of Number Game, salute. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for getting the book, and also thank you for your generous donation today. So, all right. We'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Have a great rest of your day. And hold on, let me do one more thing before I sign off. Let me make sure there's nothing breaking. Let's see what the latest is. Trump takes legal action after Mar-a-Lago search. Let's think. June 14th birthday. So today's Donald Trump's 60th day of his age, isn't it? Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Remember, the upcoming presidential election's the 60th. And let's see. Oh, no, I'm doing bad math. I'm doing bad math. It's his 70th day of his age, or 69 days after his birthday. If you missed the work we did on Mar-a-Lago, definitely go back and check that out. Today does have 72 date numerology, like President Trump and President Biden in Jesuit order. Remember the 72-page report about how conservatives don't like him. Okay. White House leaning towards canceling $10,000 in student loan debt for borrowers who make less than $125,000. Well, that'll make all those people feel a lot better. I mean, that is a lot of money, but again, remember, to essentially do that, what they're doing is they're printing more money. So they're creating more debt for the taxpayers overall that more banker interest will be on, which will further diminish the value of the currency. So it's like all things good and bad. But that's today. And then police catch suspect at airport after 2 people were killed and another was wounded in Atlanta shooting. Interesting. Well, we'll see. I'll look more into that story later. Again, today does have that 228 gematria, which connects to death. There's probably a lot more to it, but police and federal agents searched the facility for the woman who was detained about 4 p.m. in the 4th state, Georgia. Okay, I'll look more into that one later. It's nothing pressing, though. But anyhow, that's it for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share, and thank you to the super chatters. And until next time, True Seeker.